back to the After the Scales podcast, episode 8, with our special guest, LACI FERNO. LACI is an up-and-coming grassroots driver. She's raced a lot of different race cars behind the wheel, micro sprint, a midget, now getting her feet wet even in the asphalt super late model scene. So pretty exciting to have her on the podcast today. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me on.
So, we just wanted to jump right in and kind of tell our viewers how you got your start in racing.
Yeah, so I didn't start racing until I was kind of old. I didn't start until I was 14. So I started off in outlaw karts. I raced QRC intermediate at Millbridge for like kind of half of a year. I started in like July, so July to October. And then next year, I helped develop the Phantom outlaw kart pretty much. So I ran a Phantom chassis for the next 3 years in both intermediates and opens, and they're pretty good. The first year we won 9 races in the championship, and the year after that we won a handful more. It was kind of a weird year just because of COVID. And then, since then, raced micros and midgets, and now going into stock late model racing and maybe some pro late model stuff if everything works out.
Yeah, and you started racing when you were 14. I feel like you're most known at Millbridge. Millbridge is crazy weekly micro sprint scene, and I wanted to kind of ask right off the bat, you're usually number 67. Where did you get that number from? Is it kind of like a cool thing, or?
Yeah, so it's kind of a dumb story. I wish I had a better meaning behind it. But when I was little, I didn't really realize how numbers worked with race cars, and I thought once someone had a number, no one else in the entire world could ever have that number. So at the time, Montoya was the 42. So I was like, okay, no one could ever be 42. So I would just sit there and you know what, I want to be a race car driver. There's not really any 60s, and I like the number 7. So if I ever become a race car driver, I want to be 67. And so I stuck with it, and when I can pick my number, that's my number.
And now you even have the necklace for it, so that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna say it or it's gonna break. I wear this thing every single day, and she is durable. So hopefully, knock on wood, it stays durable.
But I kind of laughed when you said, you're old at 14 getting into racing, but for those that know, it kind of is, especially nowadays. Mm-hmm. So you're from Mooresville, so obviously racing is all around you. What made you finally get into a race car, and I guess what's your any family racing history, or what kind of got you into that in the first place?
Yeah, so my dad, he's always been in racing. He started racing late models, I think super late models, when he was about 20 years old in Vermont in the ACT tour, and that was back in the 90s, which is a totally different scene then. If you were 20, you were a baby. So it's kind of crazy to think how much it has changed since then. And so he raced the ACT tour. He was champion, I think, in 1996. I might be wrong, but around that time. And he eventually moved down here. He came down with a different race team to help work on some stuff. And he tried racing around here. It just didn't end up really working out. But he's worked every job in racing. He's been crew chief, car chief, tire changer, fab shop manager. He's everything. So he's always been involved in it, and I always thought that was super cool. Even when I was little, they'd be like, "Oh, what's your dad do?" And I was like, "My dad's cooler than all y'all. He works on race cars." So I always thought he was the coolest person in the world. So I wanted to be like him. And then he worked for Trackhouse Ganassi. So when Ganassi had Kyle Larson, I thought Kyle Larson was insane. He could race dirt and asphalt because I knew kind of the cup stuff because of my dad, but not really too much about the other kind of racing. So once Kyle Larson came around, it really opened my eyes to all the different routes. So that's kind of what pushed me towards the outlaw karts. And
what's the so you're doing a little asphalt racing this year, pro late, super lates. Do you have kind of a schedule picked out? What's up with that?
Yeah, so it's still a work in progress. I am working on sponsors to race regionally. It's all going to depend on sponsors, honestly. We're still not sure when the first race is going to be, but hopefully once everything kind of gets settled down, calmed down, and planned out, we'll be racing around North Carolina, South Carolina, kind of like the East Coast tracks, maybe venture out a little bit, maybe Tennessee or something. But hopefully just kind of get my feet wet, make sure I'm not total fish out of water because it's a lot different than dirt. And hopefully start progressing in that, maybe running at the Cars Tour in later dates, and then go ARCA trucks and the NASCAR kind of route.
Made you switch? So obviously your dad with the late models, and actually I probably would have seen him race up here in Canada because he would have raced around mid 90s. He would have come up here. I've probably seen him race.
Yeah.
Put 2 and 2 together. So jumping from the midgets to the late models, like how big of an adjustment is that for you? Like,
Yeah,
what are the
it's
major? Obviously, it's a much different car, but what do you notice, like just personally behind the wheel, like things you have to get adjusted to?
Yeah, so it's totally different. It's crazy. I think midgets, micros, like especially with micros, I feel like I ran a hyper chassis, right? So I think micros comparing the hyper micro comparing that to a midget was pretty different for me just because of my driving style. So it really reminded me a lot of my Phantom Outlaw car I used to drive. So I kind of it has a very similar style, like you're very aggressive on throttle, just digging, right? And I mean, micros are the same way, but I feel like you have to be more aggressive on the wheel with the midget. And like late models, totally opposite. If you're aggressive, you're gonna die. So not, but well, like not too aggressive. I don't know. That's like a happy medium, but it's very smooth, consistent. You want to do the same thing every single lap, and especially with midgets, it's very much like every lap's going to be different because the moisture's moving, track's getting slick, you're around different people, different lines, all that junk. And especially with late models, I feel like it's so like everything's very like planned out. It's like you know exactly where everyone's going to run, you know exactly what everyone's going to do, and you have to like pretty much outsmart them in a way. So they're very different in that kind of aspect, I feel like. And they're just a lot different. They're a lot more fun. I think they're both super fun. They're very fun in their own like in their own ways. I think dirt really is good to help build your reflexes. It kind of with for me personally, I feel like dirt's really helped me kind of almost like predict what's gonna happen. Like you can kind of like know when a wreck's gonna happen. You're like, oh, it's kind of get sketchy. You don't want to be in this. And you can also kind of tell when someone might be like about to hit you, or like I think dirt's really good for that. And then late models, I feel like it kind of teaches you how to. It's like kind of like multitasking in a way, because I mean, you have a spotter, you have a crew chief, you have people talking to you, and you're supposed to and you talk to them while you drive. So it's a lot different. It with that, it's a lot different. It took me a second to get used to it, having people talk to me and talking back. The amount of times I would be talking and not pressing the button was more than I want to admit. So that alone was a pretty big adjustment. But I absolutely love it. It's crazy. I don't really know a good way to compare them. They're so different, but they're both so fun, and I love both of them. So it's super cool. It's just I love what I do.
And talking about the midgets, you obviously had some really good equipment that you were behind the wheel of. You made some appearances with Mount Stout, and then you were racing with Abacus Racing. Obviously, they have Logan Seavey, who's been on a tear in the USAC scene. How does it feel, getting behind the wheel of, cars that are being won almost every night, in the midgets?
Yeah, so it was a really awesome opportunity. I don't come from a lot of money, so I do everything I race is sponsors, right? So having that opportunity to be able to race and just have it covered for the 6 races I did run, it was an amazing opportunity and it helped me get my name out there. I mean, Millbridge is a big track; it's very well known, but you don't want to race in the same track forever. So it kind of helped me expand and like meet new people and be able to race a car that I know is capable of winning. And it was just good. Like you don't want to have to worry about like stuff breaking, pretty much. You know what I mean? So being able to run the Mounts car and the Abacus car really was a great opportunity for me to kind of just focus on me as a driver and learning different things instead of like little dumb things. You know what I mean?
And you transitioned to some testing with the asphalt late model. Kind of tell our viewers how that went. How did you feel, getting behind the wheel of that? It's so different than the other race cars that you're used to.
Yeah, so one of the craziest things to me is I can put my arm out and my arm was still in the car. I was like, that's so weird. Like you actually like it's not just like your body like width. That was like really crazy to me. So getting used to the size of the car and like all that was a big adjustment. Like I said, radios, for some reason I could not comprehend where the button was, and I would just be talking and pressing an imaginary button. So that definitely was also an adjustment. But I think just the whole thing of being you don't it's all you don't always want to drive as hard as possible on asphalt, which was definitely kind of a weird adjustment for me. Because like I feel like the second you go on a track on a dirt track, you just want to go, you want to dig. And late models, I feel like you have to be very like you have to worry about tire wear. You got to conserve your tires. You don't want to drive overly hard at the beginning and then don't have enough stuff or enough tire left at the end of the race. So you definitely want to make sure everything is good to go, and you have to have everything very much planned out. And I think just being more I guess like paying attention to everything I was doing instead of just straight digging, trying to be as fast as possible, and having to pay attention to more things and multitasking was definitely probably the biggest adjustment.
And kind of switching gears here from, on track talk and kind of your off racetrack activities. You're very involved with like organizations. You started Ripping for a Cure. I know that you're involved with Tech Force Foundation, and kind of explain to us, some things like that you've started yourself and the whole goal behind it.
Yeah, so I love stuff like that. I think it's super fun. So I'm involved in 3 different organizations. I own Ripping for a Cure, which is to help raise awareness for heart disease, promote the racing community, and just like the community around us. And then Tech Force is a nonprofit organization to helps future students or future techs get scholarships and learn and employment opportunities within like a trade. It is help you get scholarships and help you get skilled trades degrees, right? So Tech Force is really cool for that aspect, and then also I volunteer at the Feed NC, which is it's this amazing organization in Mooresville that offers pretty much everything you need except like sleeping. So they have food, they have showers, they have laundry. It's an amazing organization too, and I'm a tea barista there in the morning. So I do that at least once a week, and then Tech Force I help promote their campaigns they do, and then yeah, so Rippin', that's my deal. I started Rippin' for a Cure in 2018, and it was in honor of my dad. So like I said, I've always wanted to race, but my mom did not want me to do it. She was like not feeling it. So but once my dad, he had a heart attack in 2017, she decided she's gonna let us go racing because she wanted us to make as many memories as possible together, because you never really know what's gonna happen. And also I'm a pretty flighty person, so she was kind of hoping it would be like kind of like, oh, she likes this for a week, she's not gonna keep liking this. So that didn't happen, obviously, but we since then I always knew with my racing I wanted to somehow give back to heart disease and raise awareness for it, because as bad as it is, I wouldn't be where I am if that did not happen. So I want to give back in some way and teach people about heart disease, because it is crazy how common it is. It is one of the biggest killers in America with the people. So I'm not confident. They just kind of think like cancer, that's probably the biggest killer. So heart disease in men, women, everyone is really big. So I help teach kids in a more not depressing way about heart disease and how to take care of your heart. And also I teach like older people and like high school students, and I kind of give them the more like logistical side of everything. But yeah, I kind of teach people, have fun with it. And I did for my senior project 2 years ago. I taught I think it was 10 classes about heart disease, and it was fun. It was definitely hard to get the kindergartners into it, but doing it, I love volunteering and giving back, and I think it's just a really fun way to connect with new people.
Just on a personal note with that, so I lost one of my grandfathers to a stroke, so it's something that's affected my family. If people want to learn more about your organization or donate or anything, how do they do that?
Yeah, so Ripping for a Cure, she's in the revamp era. That's what I've been calling it. There's only one post on Instagram right now, so it's not dead. I'm doing a really cool revamp that's been taking some time, and there's going to be a whole new look for it coming out pretty soon. But if you want to learn more about it, on my personal website, just laciferno.com, there's a little tab, and it kind of gives you a little spiel about it. And pretty soon, hopefully by like the summer, I'm going to have a really cool thing coming out for it. So I've been kind of keeping it secret. I got like one little post on there right now, kind of like being like Taylor Swift, got all my posts deleted. So, we're in our revamp era. So hopefully, I think it'll be really cool once I get it all done. I am so like nitpicky with everything. It's taking way longer than it should, but I just wanted to be perfect because it's like my little baby. So I'm just like, you know what? We're going to keep working on it. So yeah, if you want to learn more about Rippin', you can follow the Instagram or Facebook. It's just Rippin' for a Cure. And then my website, there's a little tab about it.
Awesome. And I know once it gets launched and finalized, I can speak for the other guys that I'm sure we'll be sharing all of that information as well. So I'll definitely be staying tuned for that.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah, and I know with Ripping for a Cure, last time with Phenom Motorsports, we had a couple, I think it was about 2 years ago, we had a lot of iRacing events where we had for Mr. Bundy, he had some heart problems, and we helped raise awareness for that by doing an iRacing event. So it was definitely cool to do that with LACI, hoping that we can do some more stuff like that in the future. But yeah, we wanted to talk about like iRacing and how like younger generation. Bert, did you want to kind of touch on that? Because I know between you and I, we're big esports sim racing guys. So
what am I talking about?
about how like people are using, sim racing as a way to do different things within the motorsports industry.
Well, iRacing nowadays it's way more realistic than it ever has been, and it's continuously getting better. They've constantly had updates. Basically, they're trying to make it to where the car is set exactly how it is in the real world, and it's basically used as a real life simulator. Like you see NASCAR drivers with it in their haulers. They're constantly on it if they're not out talking to fans or whatnot. It's a very, very reliable source to get your practice that you need in order to ensure that you do good the night that you do race.
So Lacey, kind of, what do you think of like, this era of technology? How important is it to you to kind of practice away from the racetrack?
Yeah, it's definitely very important. It gets more important every year, especially like if you are transitioning from a different series, especially with me going from dirt to asphalt. I think it's very important. So even if you don't feel like it does, because some people argue that it doesn't feel like as accurate, but that's just people being people. Like it definitely helps you learn tracks better. You can learn all like the little characteristics about little tracks, and it really just kind of helps you in ways of getting used to the car, trying different adjustments out, especially too like I said, like learning new places because even if you have raced a million tracks before, there's definitely a track somewhere you have never raced at that you're probably going to end up going to. So it definitely helps you with that kind of aspect. And yeah, it helps. I think it also helps you kind of the same thing I was saying. Like it definitely helps your racecraft, in my opinion, if you do the races and if you do the practices, get more consistent.
I'm curious to know because any race car driver that I know that's racing right now, they're all on iRacing. It's even if there's a track that's not on it, they can find a track that's similar enough to it that they can kind of use that as a general kind of guideline. Someone like your father, who was very successful racing before iRacing came along, like, has he tried it? Like, does he wish that he had it when he was racing? Like, I'm curious to get his opinion on it.
Oh yeah, we have like a little tournament we do sometimes where like we'll go do a practice session, and his favorite thing in the world is to beat me by like 0.001, and then I'll beat him by like 0.2, and then he'll go do that. For him at 1st, he said it was a lot different, but the more he does it, the more he does say like, yeah, I can see how this does help, and he did wish is like there was more stuff like that was available to him when he raced because. He always says when he raced, they want the old guys, now they want the young guys. So he's like, I was born the wrong time. But yeah, I think he definitely likes it. It took him a second to get used to it, but he also hasn't raced in a while too. So I bet his late models now are probably a lot different than they were then. So I think he does like it though, and we have fun when we do it. It's a little tournament. He won't do dirt stuff with me, but now that I'm doing asphalt, I think he has an advantage on me. So, or thinks he has an advantage on me. So we're gonna keep doing that.
Another thing I wanted to add is that you've also started slide job marketing. I know us at Phenom Motorsports, we're also very big on promoting young grassroots drivers and promoting them, helping them get sponsorships or get their name out there to potential car owners. So tell us about that new adventure that you're taking on.
Yeah, so Slide Job, she's that's my new project. I'm the queen of 500 projects. So I started Slide Job for a few different reasons. Like I said, I do all my own sponsor work. Everything I do is because of sponsors. So and I've gone to different events, different sponsor things, and pretty much a common theme I've learned from those events is people, especially like bigger corporations, they only will talk to, or not only talk to, but they're more likely to talk to like an organization or agency that represents someone. So instead of being hard-headed like I am, I was like, I'll just start my own agency. So I started Slide Job, and I help a few different drivers do their marketing, and that's also what technically does all my marketing, which is just myself. But yeah, so I just started Slide Job this year. I think I have 3 people I do stuff for. I guess counting myself, so 2 other people. But yeah, it's pretty fun. I learned how to do the marketing stuff when I was 14 because I pretty much figured out like, all right, if I want to race, I need to figure this out. So I kind of learned all the social media and marketing side of stuff when I was 14, and I'm in college for it now too. I'm in motorsport marketing for college, so I do all that too. So I feel like I use what I learned in college and what I know, and also I feel like too with with side job with me being a racer, I can help better plan things out for like how like a racer would want it to be and how it could more realistically benefit both parties mutually. So side job's fun. She's my new adventure, and I think it's been pretty successful so far. And so if you want to become a client at Side Job, hit up the Instagram.
Yeah, that's really smart, actually. I commend you for that, because you're kind of doing two things at once that lead down that career path. And that's something that more, like, if you can't market yourself, you have no chance, because sponsors are so hard to come by. So like I just think that's really, really clever, and more drivers should probably think to do that. Like if you're going to go to school for something, if it's not going to be related on the race car, then, you can market yourself away from the track. So well done by you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was definitely, people kind of side-eyed me at first, like, what are you doing? But I was like, I thought it's kind of a creative way, because a lot of people say they like to talk to agencies because it feels more official. And I was like, well, okay, I'll make my own agency. So here we are.
So before we jump into our Victory Fuel segment, would you like to share with our viewers the sponsors that do help you get to the racetrack currently?
Yeah, so I've had a million great people throughout the years that have helped me so much, and I would not be here without them. One of my biggest supporters for the longest time was Lucas Oil when I did the dirt stuff, and then also MPV Express with my midget stuff. Without them too, I would probably not be where I am today. The other partners I've had along the way, like NGK and Pit Viper, they're such real ones. They really helped me a lot, especially in the dirt scene. And yeah, we're hopefully going to have this asphalt stuff going pretty soon, and I'll be able to thank great new partners and returning partners for all that, and be able to bring them in the asphalt world.
That's definitely awesome. And so, Bert, would you like to share our Victory Fuel code of the podcast?
Use code DIRTWEIGhtNation for 10% off.
LACI, so we're going to do our Victory Fuel 10 questions. We're just going to rapid fire. Just tell us the answer that you comes to mind right away. So first question is, what is your ultimate goal in racing?
I want to be a Cup Series champion.
All right. And we've already kind of touched on this, but asphalt racing or dirt racing, what do you prefer better?
Oh, that's a good one. I mean, before this year, I'd probably say dirt because that's all I've done. But now that I've done both, it's just so hard to compare both of them because they're just so different. So I guess, I don't know, white flag. I don't know. I don't know. I'm in the middle.
And next one is, which race car you've enjoyed the most racing?
I think I really do like the late models. I like how different they are. I like the driving style of those. But technically, I haven't raced them yet. So out of the cars I've raced, definitely midgets.
And what is your favorite racetrack?
Oh, that's a good one. I'm looking out every racetrack name right now. I really liked Humboldt, where I did my midget debut last year. That was a really cool track. It was really nice.
Do you have a pre-race routine?
Get nervous and then tell myself I'm being done. That's my pre-race routine.
Yeah, usually people say like music. They like to listen to music before, but this next question is kind of get into a more personal thing. What's your favorite Olivia Rodrigo song?
Oh, okay. I actually went to her concert with Limeade Media. We went to the Olivia Rodrigo concert. I like Obsessed. I like that song. That's a good one.
What is the best place to eat at in North Carolina?
Oh God, you're gonna have me here for like 10 minutes thinking. It depends on the vibe. Like if we're going for more of like a chill vibe, Barcelona. Barcelona has the best. If you like rotisserie chicken, that's the vibe. If you're more in like a Mexican mood, Burrito Loco. If you're into more of a Chinese food, Great Walk. And if you like I don't know what you call it, but like kind of like little vibey places, Gibson Mill and Optimus Hall.
I have a racing nickname.
Sometimes I've had a few. I've had some not nice ones, and I've had some nice ones. So, I mean, I've definitely been called the Inferno a lot just from my last name. And yeah, there's a lot of not nice ones, but we don't have to talk about those.
What is your top 3 female drivers of all time? It doesn't have to be NASCAR or IndyCar or anything. It could just be top 3 female drivers that you kind of think are the best.
I would say Betty Shelton, Jana Guthrie, and Lynn St. James. James.
Nice.
James.
I would have said two of those three for sure.
Oh yeah.
And last but not least, if you could race any car anywhere, what would it be?
If I could race any car anywhere, I would honestly truck at Darlington. I think that would be so fun.
Yeah, definitely a good choice. Lady in Black, great racing there. So before we conclude, Shaun or Bert, do you have any concluding thoughts?
I just really enjoyed it. Where else can people follow you? Just on your social media?
Yeah, so all my social medias are the same, just LACI FERNO 67. My name's spelled a little weird, so it's LACI and then FERNO and then 67. So yeah, that's me on everything. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. There's social media, I'm probably on it. So just search that up, you'll probably find me.
All right, so we appreciate LACI for joining us on the After Scales podcast. This is only our 8th episode, so we're glad that she's been able to come on super early along in our process. So, yeah, thanks, LACI, for being on today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, thanks a lot.
Thank you.